Oh my God, I've just seen all the albums up there as well.
Yes.
Lana Del Rey, great choice.
No, that's like one of my favorite parts in talking with musicians is just like sharing music and like
Yeah, same,
and actually
same.
like I can jump into this now, but I do have like a series of questions to ask you about your
Yeah,
music taste.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so like what is the last song you listened to?
I can check, I can tell you. It is Eusexua by FKA Twigs. I got about
Yes.
2 minutes through. It's so good. The video
I
is
haven't seen the
like,
video yet, but
oh
I
my God, you
love
have
the
to. The
song.
video's like, there's like a whole extra song attached to it. It's so good. The choreography, like everything, it's literally amazing.
Awesome. I love her so much. Like just
I saw it. Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say I saw a tweet earlier today that was like the alt pop girls are bringing like visuals back. They're bringing it back to us, and I'm like, that's so true. Like everybody, like Caroline Polachek, Charlie,
That's
FK Twigs, like all of the videos have just been like amazing. I'm
yes.
so excited.
I 100%. Oh my goodness. Any music videos of yours coming up soon?
Yeah, so last week we put out the video for Somebody to Lose,
Mhm.
which I originally we were talking about whether or not it was worth doing a video like at all nowadays, and because obviously we don't have the budget to do like a 360 kind of moment or something like that, but we were just like, you know what? We could get like a 50 quid camcorder and just shoot at the Barbican. So my friend and fellow artist Nova May, who's sick, you should definitely check her out if you like hyper pop and like recession pop vibes.
Yeah.
Um, she literally just like came along with a camcorder and we spent like 2 hours just running around the Barbican, dancing, having fun. It was great.
Nice. Yeah. I feel like I am on the argument that like every artist should make music videos for every single song
Yeah,
they have.
yeah,
Just because I love like seeing a visual interpretation of
yeah.
songs, even if it's like just something like, I don't know,
I
lip
think I think the
the
thing is,
song.
yeah, a lot of the time when people think music video, they think, okay, it needs to be like, this whole thing and like it needs to be professionally done. And I've been lucky enough to like work on a professional like video shoot and it was amazing. Like it was so much fun, but it was also just as fun and kind of like artistically fulfilling to just, do it on like no budget and like Greg's. Actually, not Greg's. We had Leon, but it was so much fun. It was a really, really nice evening.
Awesome. Yeah.
An evening in the Barbican is always worth it.
I'll trust you on that.
True. Yeah, you're in America, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Barbican is like an amazing building in like East London,
Okay.
and I've sneakily done a couple of shoots there, like as part of like my old project as well. But I always go back to it.
Nice. So you're based out of London right now,
Yeah. Yep.
but
Yep. Yep.
you wrote your song in Paris, if I'm,
Yeah. So
and
at the
go ahead.
oh, sorry, no, you gone.
No, I was just gonna say, but you're originally from Ireland, so I was wondering if like
Yeah,
little
it
moves.
sounds more bougie than it is, I promise. Yeah, no, I've always loved Paris. I didn't kind of understand why until um I went there in January, and I think Paris is like weirdly, it's always been like the place that I've ended up going, like when I'm quite emotional, and in my feels. And uh, for the first couple of days, I was there with one of my good friends, Jen, and my best friend, and like co-producer Jomo. And I just said to them, I was like, I've been wanting to do a writing trip for ages because I wanted to feed my ego and have like, that moment where like, yeah, we're all here for me. We're all here to like write these tracks for me. And I just never did it until like it got to the new year and I was just like, you know what? Like just randomly going to message Jen and Jomo. And somehow they agreed. They were able to get the time off as well. And we just had like 2.5 days to, we just woke up, wrote some songs, then like walked around Paris, and then went out in the evenings and then wrote some more. And Somebody to Lose was actually the last track that we wrote for it. So it was a bit of a panic. The other songs were like really cool, but it was like, feeling the vibe, like where are we going to go with this or whatever. And then it was literally towards the end of the day where I just suddenly had the idea for the first verse, the "You're so hot, I don't know what to do, face so pretty, I could hang in the Louvre." And I came out and I was like, guys, we need to start working on this like now. And yeah, and then I had a couple of days to myself there afterwards, and I just love it. I love the city. I was walking around like taking a whole load of photos of different buildings, and so I got to like explore like parts of Paris that I hadn't been to before. It's like an amazing city. It's so, so cool.
Absolutely. I was there last summer, and like just the architecture is enough to like
Yeah.
make me want to pick up a pen and start writing
Yeah.
something down.
It's wild. I went to an area called Noisy-le-Grand, which is like East Paris, and they have like literally like the most insane buildings that like you've ever seen. And are like some of the most insane buildings for me. They're pretty insane. And I sat there for like 2 hours, just working on some of the lyrics for the tracks. And taking photos, and then I got shouted at because turns out you're not allowed to take photos of those buildings. Like if they're being used commercially or something like that. So sorry, French government, if you're listening. I never posted them.
Just for inspiration.
Mm-hmm. So I can look at them.
Yeah. No, I love that. And it's also, I feel like fun to say that like, yeah, this song was, written in Paris.
Oh yeah, no, like it's been great. Like I feel like that's been part of like the PR package, is saying, oh yeah, everyone's like Irish born, London living, written in Paris. I'm like, wow, I sound so international.
Getting all the cool cities, yeah.
Literally.
Um, but I also want to ask about like what drew you to music in the first place.
Um, I don't really know, to be honest. I feel like this is gonna sound really like self-deprecating. I don't mean it that way, but it's like it's the only thing that like I'm really good at that I also really enjoy doing. Um, I really struggled in school because I wasn't really able to focus on subjects even if I wanted to. And I knew that like if I could apply myself, like I would be able to do it, but for whatever reason, like my brain just wasn't able to, other than music. And so I kind of just accepted at an early stage that like it was gonna be that or like nothing. um, yeah, which maybe isn't the best like strategy, but it's the one that I've ended up going with, and
It's working. I mean, like you're
it's
here.
working. Is
I think
it?
so.
I've said like I've said to a couple of my friends over the past couple of months, like it is actually the best job in the world. Like being able to literally just like live my life and then write about it, which is like not in a narcissistic way, as in like that is how I process a lot of things. I'm not very good at like talking about things in the moment. I like to think a lot and then like write about it or like voice note it or whatever. And being able to like do that as a job has like been, I think, great for like my mental health because I do it a lot. Although it's weird because then whenever like a track does come out, I have this really weird balance of like I only ever really write a song for two people, like for myself and for whoever I'm writing it about. or whatever I'm writing it about. So it's weird then like having people listen to it and like have their own interpretations of it and like people, you know, have their own thoughts. It makes dating extremely awkward because like I tell people, oh yeah, like I'm a writer, like I'm a singer. Well, actually I don't. I just tell people that I either work in like music or in fashion until like I get to know them, and then I'm like, yeah, I write songs, and then they're always like, oh, where can I hear them? And I'm like, you're not gonna hear them because I'm writing them about like other people. I don't want you hearing that. And then I always get asked like, oh, are you secretly famous and you don't want me to know? And I was like, I wish. If I was famous, I'd be telling you.
Everyone would know about it.
Exactly. I wouldn't have a problem at that point. Like,
No, that's always something like I'm super curious about because like I personally think that like the best music does come from a super personal place. But at the
yeah,
same time, like as an artist, there's such like that like disconnect once it's out in everyone's hands. Have
yeah.
you gotten like feedback on like what listeners have like interpreted from it or like how it's applied to their own lives?
Yeah. And with this one, it's been different. Like, I've really enjoyed um like the reaction to this because I feel like whenever I've written before, it's always come from a place of like feeling quite sorry for myself and like sadness. And it started that way um with Somebody to Lose and with the other tracks that we were writing. But I think something just switched. It was Jen said to me, she was like, I feel like there's a problem at the moment, like with our generation, where everything's just so deep. Like everything is unnecessarily complicated and we get over emotional, like for no reason. And she said, stop deeping it, Matt. She was like, you need to stop deeping it. And for whatever reason, that like stuck with me. Like,
Mhm.
so when we went to Paris, I was like, you know what? I just want to write a song that is kind of making fun of myself and the situation and putting myself in that like mindset of like, because it's about like writing about somebody who's like already in like a relationship, which is obviously awful. Like as a person, that's like you don't want to be thinking that at all. But it's kind of fun to like play that out in your head and just be like, okay, well, like if I'm going to be like messy, like which it is, the whole thing is like a mess. Like I might as well like, you know, write a fun song about it rather than being like, oh, I'm so sad that you're seeing somebody else. Like,
No, that's so
let's
true.
just have fun.
Yeah, I feel like this year especially like pop and like mu just music in general has like leaned more towards like just being fun and I'm
Authenticity, yeah,
so here for
absolutely.
it. Um
Yeah.
I think like
It's such a nice change. I feel like everyone's been craving it after like I used to be really anti TikTok. I actually really like TikTok now, and I really like Reels. It's a lot of fun, and I get to like show off my outfits. But I feel like there was a phase where everybody was like, "Oh, it's ruining the music industry" or whatever, and like everyone's chasing these TikTok moments. But then you look at like people like Charlie XCX who are
yeah,
like just being themselves, and like it's going completely viral.
yeah, exactly. And there definitely like was a period of stigma of like, oh, like you're not making serious music. You're
Yeah, you're making TikTok music.
yeah. But I mean like if it blows up, it's for a reason. Like people
Yeah,
obviously enjoy it and want it. So
people want to hear it.
yeah.
I also think Twitter, and I'm not going to call it X, but I think Twitter has like a certain influence now at this point because I feel like all of the cool music that I hear, I see like people tweeting about it before I see it anywhere else, and then it's like, oh, okay, I should listen to this and say that I like it before all of my friends start to like it.
I just recently like made a Twitter account and oh my goodness,
Really?
it's wild on there.
It is. It's such a mixed bag. Although I don't know, like I've never got addicted to like the doom scrolling on like Instagram
Mhm.
or TikTok. I like the algorithm just never worked for me. Twitter, I'm like hooked to. Like
Really?
yeah, like whenever I'm like on the tube or like walking or like have nothing to do, I'm literally just on Twitter like reading stupid memes or like about Formula One and stuff like that. Like it's finely tuned for me. So I don't know what they've done, but my Twitter is blessed.
I love that. Like for me, it's the exact opposite. Like TikTok, I don't even know how I end up seeing the videos I do, but they're so specifically geared towards me that like
Really?
it's scary.
Yeah. It's crazy, like algorithms and shit like that now.
Another question I had for you was about your name, Altara. Like, is there a cool
Mm.
backstory as to where they came from?
Yeah, kind of, and kind of not. Um, I I just wanted something that wasn't my name. And I wanted something that sounded like relatively cool, like at least to me.
Mhm.
And uh, Originally I was working with like a manager for a while, and we were gonna go with a different name. I won't say what the name is because I don't want to sound like I'm being like bad. But the name was really bad. I hated it. But I didn't have like the confidence at that point to be like, I really hate this name. Like, we need to go with something else. And we were like 3 days out from launching the project as this name. And I eventually got the courage after talking to Jomo, like the co-producer. And I was like, dude, I cannot have people call me this. Like, this is just gonna make me like instantly hate the project. And he was like, well, you need to come up with something. So I like spoke to my manager at the time, and I was like, I can't do this. And he was like, well, you need to come up with something in the next 2 days. So I can't remember exactly what I googled, but it was I as I'm Irish, and as I've grown older, I've become more and more like proud and precious of holding on to the fact that I'm Irish. So I think I googled like Celtic names and like the letters with like that were are in my name, and Altara came up, and I was like, that sounds great. I was like, that
Yeah.
sounds really cool. I feel like Altara could be anything. Altara could be like hyperpop, like it could be a funk band, or not a funk, a folk band, or
Mhm.
like even a Christian rock band or something like that. Like
If
we
you
could be
ever
whatever,
decide to switch genres, it's
literally,
it's
which
there.
I will inevitably do. I feel like I get too bored of doing one thing, and then I'm like, okay, next thing. Even the next single is like completely different to Somebody to Lose, in my opinion.
Okay. Um, what about your influences? Like, are they as sprawling as
Yeah,
music?
I think so. Um, I also like. I feel like I'm constantly, because I'm surrounded obviously by like people who either work in music or like just love music, and I'm constantly reminded about like how little music I actually listen to. Like whenever anybody's like Spotify Wrapped comes out, their numbers are always like, oh yeah, I've listened to like 50,000 hours or something like that, and I'm like, I have like 3,000 hours. um, but I feel like I get really hooked onto like a couple of songs like every month, and that's all I'll listen to. But there are three like I feel like albums that have always stuck with me. The first is Igor by Tyler the Creator. I really, really, really love that album. Because for me that was like, um, it's like a movie. Like you can't start it halfway through. Like every time you listen to it, you have to listen to it from the start because it's like it's an entire story and it's an entire like journey. Um, the second is Charlie by Charlie XCX. I think that album's just like perfect. There's like only one song that is not like my fave, but everything else I'm just like like Gone is one of my favorite songs, like production wise and writing of all time. And then the third is Bronson by Bronson, which is like a one-off album because it was like a collaboration between, I think it's like Odessa and Golden something or other, and it just randomly came up in my like release radar, and the production on that is insane. It's like quite heavy EDM, but it's so like raw. It's like so physical. There's a track called Contact where it literally sounds like the bass is about to like come and grab you. It's like it for me. That's just like the best.
I'll have
That
to
kind
check
of
them
production.
out. You said
Yeah,
Bronson?
you should.
Okay,
Yeah, Bronson, so cool.
awesome.
And
Um,
the album ranges from like kind of like chill EDM to like there's like an 80s like inspired track to then just like super hard like electronic music. It's great.
that sounds awesome. Yeah. Um, I'm actually curious because you brought up with Igor that like it's an album that you have to listen
Yeah.
start to finish. And I'm a firm believer that like most albums like are that way, that you know,
Yeah.
artists choose the track list in that specific way. So
Absolutely.
I'm wondering with your own future project, is that something you're super aware of as well?
Yeah, it is. Not like it's funny because you're bringing up a slightly touchy subject because I love it when tracks like run into each other, and finding a way to like make it make sense though sometimes just isn't possible. And my whole thing with this um EP was that everything that I wrote in the space of like 4 months because it was all super fresh, and that for me is like makes me really passionate about like putting a project out. So I remember I came back from a trip which didn't go the way that I was expecting it to, and I rang Jomo and I was like, dude, uh, because we had another EP like ready to go. I was like, we're putting that out next year. I was like, I want to put this out now. And he was like, that's impossible. And I was like, no, it's not. And he was like, yes, it is, but like we'll do it anyway. But because of that, we haven't been able to like make the tracks run into each other, but they do all make sense
Okay.
together. And we still have gone kind of genre bendy like between the different tracks. I'm really proud of the track listing that we have for it. One of the tracks got swapped out last minute, and that was like for a while, like when we started putting it out, I was like, oh my God, I was like, this isn't it. I was like, but we started, we can't stop. And then swapped out the last track, and suddenly just it made sense, and I was like, okay, we're good. Crisis averted. Don't have to like change my name again.
No, I love that. Like I said, like even if they don't necessarily flow into each other, because like even right now, I'm having a hard
Mm,
time thinking of another album that does that. But
yeah.
just like thematically, if they all make sense,
It
it's
needs
so
to tell a story.
yeah.
Like I said, it's like a book. It's like a movie. Like the best albums when you know they're by when they're written from the point of view of like you really have something to say. Um, the best albums kind of do that naturally. And I like I love listening to albums the whole way through. I think it's rare that like I'll find one where I genuinely enjoy listening to the whole thing the whole way through. But I think it's important. Like when an artist puts a project out, like you should listen to it the way that they like intended for it to be listened to. Because I think Adele did that with like Apple Music or something like that, where
Right.
you weren't able to like skip the tracks. You had to listen to it in a certain order, and everyone was like, "This is awful," and I was like, "You're kind of right because I get it. You just want to be able to listen to like the tracks that you like, but the point is that like you should try listening to it in like album format. But it's why I really love that a lot of big artists at the moment are just like dropping the album. Like there's like one single and then the album's out. Like great.
Yeah, I
That
know
means
like
you have to listen to them to find the songs that you like.
exactly with like Billie Eilish's recent
Yeah.
album, like that was like one of the first things that I loved about it is that like
Yeah.
I could actually like sit and like fully listen to each song without having a
Yeah.
clue what they were like. It was,
And
yeah.
you know what? What's so cool about that album is everybody that I talk to has like a different song that's their favorite. And I just think like there's so many like people now that like when you say to them, "Oh, have you heard like of this artist?" and they're like, "Oh yeah, they do like this song," and it's always like the single or whatever. Like when I've chatted to my friends about like the Billie Eilish album, everyone has like a different favorite song, which I just think is again really cool. It's also a testament to like how great of a writer she is. But yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I did want to ask you a bit more about the music you listen to.
yeah.
So I have a fun one that I love to ask, which is what is your controversial music opinion? So a song that most people tend to like, but you like strongly dislike, or the other way around, that you love
Oh,
but other people hate.
I kind of I have a kind of cop out answer, but it's not fully cop out. It's real. Um, I have not listened to enough Lana Del Rey, and everyone is like, you need to listen to more Lana Del Rey, and I really want to, but it's that thing where everybody keeps saying it to me that now I'm kind of like, I love Born to Die. Born to Die is one of my favorite albums. I can see it back there. I just realized your face when I said that. But I need to listen to more of it, and I just haven't. So whenever anybody's like, "Oh, I love Lana Del Rey, I love this song," or whatever, I kind of have to pretend that I know it when I really don't. So
No.
that's my kind of hot take in the sense that like I obviously know how amazing she is, but I don't know why because I haven't listened to it. I've listened to A&W that because
Okay.
I didn't listen to anything after. I think I listened to, is it Ultraviolence, the one
Yeah.
after uh or Honeymoon? I can't remember. The one after Born to Die I listened to, and I
Mhm.
was like, this isn't really clicking the same way. But I was like 12 or something like that, and then. There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard came out, and I listened to A&W, and I was like, oh, like fuck, I really do need to listen to Lana Del Rey. So that's my kind of hot take. That's a cop
Okay,
out.
yeah.
Track that I like that um other people hate. I don't know. I feel like I like sometimes I just like really bad music. And it's because it just makes me really happy, like just to listen to it. But I can't think of a song off the top of my head. There's one the hardest ever by Will I Am was stuck in my head for like a month, like straight, and that is one of the most lyrically interesting songs that I've ever listened to. If you haven't heard it, watch the music video because the music video will blow your mind.
Okay. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh God, I actually don't know because I haven't done karaoke in ages. I used to do it like a lot when I was at uni, and I always did Seven Nation Army.
Okay.
So that's kind of my answer. I'm not sure I would do it now, but I'm not sure I'd do karaoke now.
You're-
Depending on like what I've had, like to
Mhm.
drink, then maybe. But yeah, it used to be Seven Nation Army. Then it was Treasure for a little while by Bruno Mars. Um, yeah, I've gotten more into like DJing than karaoke recently.
Okay.
So if anybody asked me to karaoke, I'd be like, no. But I've got my laptop with me so I can DJ for you
Okay.
instead.
Um, Big final question. What,
Yes.
in your opinion, is the best song of all time?
Oh, oh. Well, I know I kind of said "Gone" by Charlie earlier, but I feel like it's so different. I feel like it's so different. Um, I had an answer for this a while ago. I actually can't remember what it was. Um, God, I don't know. I don't know. That's really like stressed me out. Um,
No, it's
let
a
me
hard
see. Let me.
question.
It is a hard question. Let me see what like my number one song on Apple is. Top 25 most played. Hmm. Hmm. God, best song ever written or like ever produced. You know what?
Give
I
one
Can't
for
Make You
each
Love
if
Me.
they're different. I was gonna say
Yeah.
that takes time.
I I would say I think actually I'm going to give the full answer, the correct real answer, and I would say I Can't Make You Love Me by Bonnie Riot. I think her name is Bonnie Riot. I think that song is really like maybe it's just because I saw somebody do a cover of it like
Okay.
the other day. But I think it's one of like the most heartbreakingly like beautiful songs because it's just about accepting the fact that you can't make somebody want you no matter how much you want them, and sometimes that's okay. It's just not meant to be.
No, that's it's a timeless one.
And Gone by Charlie. Honestly, it would change depending on the day.
No, that's fair. And that's what most people say that like right this very minute, this is the song that comes to mind. But like ask me next
Yeah.
and it's gonna be different.
Well, I was just looking at my top 25 most played, and there's a track here called So High by an artist called Stress Head, um, who I only recently discovered, and it's somehow become my like third of all time. So I've obviously been listening to that like nonstop. I know I listen to it in the gym, so
Mhm.
maybe that's why, but it's such a good song.
How would you say like you usually come across new music? Is it just like you mentioned Twitter, like just
Yeah, Twitter or like recommendations from friends as well. Stresshead, I was put onto by a friend of mine called Christian, who Christian like just knows everything. Christian Sayers, like he yeah he will know you can say any artist to him and be like, oh yeah, I know them, like, or like if I say I want to listen to that, it's like a real life AI jukebox where you're like, I want this kind of song, and then he's just like, yeah. So he sent me Stress Head, but I feel like a lot of it comes from recommendations from other people or Twitter, um, or like Release Radar is quite good. Like a lot of the Apple and Spotify algorithmic stuff at this point is like decent,
yeah, yeah.
but mostly recommendations like Tamino, who I will listen to
Yes.
afterwards.
Yes, definitely. No, one of my top three artists.
Really? Okay, I'm excited.
He's more on the very like chill and like lyrical side of music,
Nice.
but yeah, definitely recommend.
Sweet. I'm excited to listen to it then.
Awesome. Yeah, that's everything I had, but thank you again so much for taking the
No,
time.
thank you for having me.
Hi everyone, I'm Zoe from Zany Waves. Thank you so much for watching. To listen to more of Altara's music and to follow him on socials, check out the links below. Happy listening.